All right, everyone, what is up? Divine Hood here. In today's video, I'm going to cover some altcoins. I'm also going to go over a quick update on Bitcoin price action today, and I'm going to cover the total market cap chart and the total market cap 3 chart just briefly. Okay, so let's get started here. This is the total market cap chart of Bitcoin and all cryptos, the entire market cap. Last time I talked about this chart, I was talking about this pitchfork midline and how we were trying to hold it as a support overall, and that we could see some consolidation around this midline before we eventually lose it and come down to our key levels here, or until we reclaim it and make a move up. So right now, the total market cap chart is starting to consolidate. Like we see, it's starting to form a range here. We could pull a fixed range volume profile just of this last couple days of price action here, and you could trade this range. You can see that right now, if I zoom in here, I'm going to zoom in onto the 1 hour chart. You can see that it is just trading in this range here. It's trading in this simple range. We are trying to hold this pitchfork midline, but it's consolidating right at it. And if Bitcoin does decide to drop lower, I think that altcoins will drop and the entire crypto market cap will drop. Maybe not down here unless Bitcoin flushes to 85K, but we'll just wait and see. You can see that earlier today, on the past few hours, we tried reclaiming it. We rejected off this POC and we're starting to see a rejection. And if this local value area low doesn't hold, then we might make new lows or even come for this low here. Now, going to the total 3 chart, last time I talked about this chart, I was talking about the bearish backtest. Now that we lost this pitchfork upper band support, we could dump down to the bottom to take these the liquidity at these lows here into the pitchfork midline. I said I want that to hold. Well, we did get another double bottom on the chart, which in my opinion is kind of a bad bearish signal because we didn't take the liquidity. Double bottoms are good if you can wick the liquidity out and then continue up. But if you don't wick the liquidity and you barely front run it, like you can see we've done here, that's now twice the liquidity resting below for us to come take next time. Also, you can see once we front ran this level, we pumped back up to this upper band support we rejected, and now we're starting to form a range in between the two major levels. So we could also do something like a range pull here, and we could trade that range pool. Really, not much people trade ranges of these total market cap charts or these market cap charts. It's just something to watch, to look for when this is at support or resistance, to take profits on altcoins if it's at resistance, or to take buy or long altcoins if it's at support. So I do suspect that we could start to range here for a few days, maybe over the weekend, over Christmas, start ranging for a few days, then come down SFP into the pitchfork midline, and then see our real push up. And that maybe could be the start of an alt season. So that's that for the 2 total market cap charts. Going back to Bitcoin here, and I'm going to zoom onto the 30-minute chart. You could see the last 2 videos I made, I talked about this little intraday descending channel that we'd been in. And one of the things that I want to cover, we did drop to the 786 in the bottom of the channel, like I said, and I said we could get a push up to the top of the channel. Well, we sure did. So you could have scalped that. I didn't because I was busy. But you could have taken that as a scalp. You can see that now we're starting to dump back into the channel and kind of continue to range. One thing that we could do now, we have 4 nice touches on the bottom of this channel. We could adjust this channel now. We could take it, and we have 2 new highs that were created. So we could bring it to this high here, and you can see it's still very nicely respected. The midline's very nicely respected. So we could change the channel now to fit this analysis. And the bottom part is what's the important part anyways, and that didn't change. So I still would be looking for us, maybe we do a small bounce from this midline here, come back up, lose the midline, retest it, and then finally SFP into the bottom of the channel, and then we see our break up. Now, if that happens in the next couple days, the 92K SFP is still a nice level that I'm looking to trade because it's a double bottom on Coinbase charts. But I still think the 90.6K level is more important, and that's the level that I really am interested in if Bitcoin makes it up to there. So that's the small update on Bitcoin here. And now I have 8 altcoins to cover, so I'm going to go through these real quick here. Let's go to Theta USDT first. And we'll go now. I haven't looked at these really ahead of time, so I'm just going to kind of do analysis on the fly. So I'll show you guys kind of how I do it. So I'm going to zoom out to the weekly chart. I'm going to look at the weekly and see if I can see anything offhand. I do see we are kind of starting to form a range. So you take this fixed range volume profile. Now, someone asked me in the comments how to pull these fixed range volume profiles. And what the fixed range volume profile is it's measuring the relevant volume of the trend that's happening now, or relevant price action that's happening now. So we went and pulled the fixed range down to here because that's way in the past price action. We already got the big impulse upwards. You could pull now, and then we got our little bit of a correction down. And then from here, we're starting to form a range. So I could pull it from the start of this kind of horizontal range to present day, and we can look at this range here. Now, look, if we look at this range, you can see that we bounced from the value area low, we rejected from the POC, kind of were able to hold it, bump up above it, came back down, tested the value area high, but we kind of front ran it just barely. We're able to kind of range for a little bit, started kind of forming like a bearish flaggish pattern, broke the bear flag down. Now we're able to reclaim the range again, and we're dropping to bullishly backtest this range. So this is on the weekly time frame. So this is pretty high time frame stuff that we're looking at. This value area high retest is pretty important. Let's pull a fixed range, or a fib pull from the last relevant weekly low to the high. And yeah, okay, so we bounced from the golden pocket, and actually I'm gonna pull this fib pull from this low here. Yeah, okay, look at that. We bounced straight from the 0.65. So now I'm going to zoom in onto the daily chart. We're going to look at this a little bit more here. Okay, so one thing I see right off the bat here, we did drop to the golden pocket, and we're holding the golden pocket and we're bouncing. But even on the daily time frame, we're in bearish price action. Lower low, lower high, lower low. This could be a lower high before we come back down to actually touch this value area high, see if we can start to form a range and hold it and then continue upwards. Now, I like that because I also see right offhand, I see a sort of type of bull flag happening. So you can see this channel that I just pulled on the daily. You could pull, like you could say this is a pull that's happening here, and then you would see your kind of bear bull flag starting to happen. So if this golden pocket and value area high holds, this might be nice to take it, like say a bull flag, something like that, and your measured target would be, you know, around $5.50 or so. So that could be something we're looking at. I'm going to zoom in here onto the 4-hour chart, and let's see how this channel is looking. So yeah, look at this is a very nicely respected descending channel. I actually like this channel a lot. You can see how well it's been respected. The midline's been respected multiple times. You can see we held the midline in this little consolidation here, and now we're starting to pump up. So maybe we can make it to the top of this channel, and then from the top of the channel, we might see a flush down to, so pump up to the top of the channel, see a flush down, maybe bounce a little bit here, come down, and the bottom of the channel at that point in time might be aligning with this value area low, or value area high, excuse me, and then we might be able to see a breakout of that bull flag. That's something I'd be watching for on Theta here. So let's see. Possible short-term resistance on Theta, 244, 245-ish. And then the value area high is around 162-ish. So that is the levels I'd be looking at. You could also do a smaller fixed range value, fixed range pull, volume pull of this, just this last price action. I would do it from like right here. Okay, so you can see here, we did lose the value area low. We came back up, back tested it. So the value area low is also in very nice confluence with the top of this channel. So that 244 to 245 level is a level you could be looking for a short if you think it's going to continue to make lower lows and lower highs on the daily and continue to dump a little bit. We are starting to see momentum waves starting to top out. Money flow is starting to curve to the outside, to curve down again. So that is telling me that we might reject from the top of this channel one more time, come back down and actually hit the value area high of that bigger range around 162 or $1.62. Let's see here what else I can see. I'm going to zoom back out onto the weekly chart. I do see a really nice possible pitchfork pull we could do. So we could grab the pitchfork, we could take it from a low, key weekly low, and you could see that weekly low is like a triple bottom there. So it looks like the selling pressure was exhausted at that bottom, and we could pull it to the last big pump on the weekly high, pull it to the bottom low of the weekly, and now we change the pitchfork and see which one has been respected the best. So I'm going to go to a skiff pitchfork. Okay, the bottom of the skiff pitchfork was held. Let me get rid of this channel here, and let me get rid of this golden pocket so we can see better. So look at how nice this is respected, this skiff pitchfork on the weekly. We chopped around in that lower band for a little while, rejected the lower band here, dropped to the bottom. We're able to pump up to the top of the band, rejected pretty much to the dollar from the top of the band, lost the midline, and now we're coming up for a bearish backtest on the weekly. So let's zoom in now onto the daily chart here. Let's look at this. Yeah, so see how nice this is here. Wicked a couple times, but held the midline. Finally, when we lost the midline, came back up for a bearish backtest on the daily. Couldn't close the wick above. Came back up a second time on this daily candle yesterday. Couldn't close above. Now we're rejecting from it so far on this third daily candle of trying to retest this. Let's go to that range pull again. And we could pull this fixed range volume profile from present day. You could pull it to the top here, or you could pull it, let's see if they're different. So if I pull it here, let's see, what did I do last time? I'm going to use this much bigger range here, all the way to here. So, okay, so the value area low is aligning really nicely with the bottom of this pitchfork lower band if we take a while. So say it takes a couple weeks and we reject from this band, come down, maybe make a lower high, and then come into the pitchfork lower band in confluence with that value area high retest, and then we break it and continue higher. That is something I'd be watching for. So that level there, and it's also sort of a liquidity grab of that last low. So 165.5 to 166-ish. Is a level I'd be watching, and then even if we went a little bit lower, 160-ish is the pitchfork band. That level I'd be looking for, and you can see on the daily chart, money flows coming back in. We got the green dot, momentum waves bottoming. I would be watching over the next day or two to see if we could reclaim this pitchfork midline. If we can reclaim this pitchfork midline, and even on a lower time frame, so let's say we go onto the hourly chart, if we can reclaim the pitchfork midline a little bit, come back, and you'd want to reclaim it and at least take these highs here, these last prior highs, and then come back and flip it to support, then you could long it here, and you could put your stop below any of these lows here or these lows here, depending on what risk appetite you have. These lows are pretty good because they're double lows here, or semi double lows all through here. So if you put your stop below that, that's a pretty good technical stop, because if you're going to take those lows, then your idea is wrong and you need to get out of the trade. So that's a little bit on Theta there. As far as resistances go, the top of the band is about 347, 346.8. I would be watching this larger range pull as well. So let's zoom out onto the 4 hour. And you could, if you were interested in some more resistances, you could do the fixed range of just that bull flag type of channel that we're in. And you could look at the value area high and the POC. They're in very close confluence here. But also I do see something here that we do have that liquidity that is resting from this last high. It is resting right close to the pitchfork band at like 335. So we could see a real quick wick up into this pitchfork band, and then SFP on the daily chart or even on a 4 hour chart close below that high. Then that could be a possible short signal. Now you'd want to be looking at your momentum indicator to see if you have proper bearish divergences on lower time frames, maybe 1 hour time frame, 4 hour time frame, 12-minute time frame, 15-minute time frame. So that's something to watch for on Theta there. But I do like this pitchfork. This pitchfork is really highly respected, and it looks like it's being really giving good signals on macro levels. So that's that. Really intraday stuff. You could even pull ranges, like you could pull a fixed range from here to here. You could look at that. Looks like we're breaking the value area high there. That's low time frame stuff that I wouldn't be paying too much attention to right now because it's a holiday week with low volume and you can get a lot of false signals. We could also do a anchored VWAP from the key pitchfork low anchor point that we had here. And then, so yeah, you can see we're holding that anchored VWAP. We did wick below it there. And then you could do the anchored VWAP from the top of the pitchfork as well. And okay, that's even nicer. You can see how it's holding right now. We did see that wick below, but it held here. We got a perfect bounce from it here. And then now it's holding again. So this area, it's kind of in no man's land, but you do want to pay attention to those anchored VWAPs because they give you the volume from the point you anchor it for, the average volume of the candle. So that's what the VWAP is. It's volume weighted average. So it just takes into account the volume of the candles and where the volume is located in the candles. So that is what I'd be kind of watching for on Theta. I'm just kind of going over this stuff quick because I've got 8 or 9 altcoins to cover. And so next up is going to be Doge. Okay, and we'll go to Doge. Dogecoin. Okay, so last time I did the analysis on Dogecoin, we were looking at the same sort of ascending channel that we were looking at on Bcoin. It was this version of it. You could see we made the double bottom again. And remember how I talked about double bottoms are actually somewhat of a bearish signal if you don't take the liquidity. What happened is we made the double bottom. We came up for the bearish back test of this channel. You can see we rejected the first time on the daily. We couldn't get above it. The next time rejected a second time, and then we saw the dump. And so those bearish back tests are really important to watch, especially if you don't take the liquidity ahead of time, because it's giving you it should give you a more bearish leaning signal based off of not taking liquidity. So let's see here. We could do this. We could do a fib pull from the last daily low to the high. Actually, I don't know if that's the high or if this is the high. Looks like we have a double high as well. So that is something to be watching. There's liquidity, twice the liquidity resting there. Let's see if we have, oh, we took it. Okay. So never mind. You can see how that wick is wicked above it. We actually took the liquidity. We had a swing failure pattern of this high, and that's why we dumped here. We couldn't reclaim the channel, and that's why we dumped here. So we are not interested in that anymore, and we can do that pull, yep, to that high. And you could see the reason why we bounced where we did is because it was the golden pocket, the 0.65 golden pocket. We're bouncing from the golden pocket, which is a really good signal. But now we need to watch for, now that we bounce from this golden pocket, we need to watch to come up to these, what used to be the prior supports. It could be flipped to resistance and we could continue down. That is something you need to be watched for. So 36.5 on Dogecoin is going to be an important resistance to watch for now. We could also do a fib pull from the high to the low here. And you could do, so remember the 382 is in a strong trend. The 382 often acts as resistance. And actually that's where we rejected for off of this candle on the daily. So we already rejected from the 382, which is telling me that Dogecoin is still in a pretty strong trend to the downside. So even though we rejected here and we're starting to form a range, this could be considered a sort of bear flag happening, and we could come down and take the liquidity of this low again into the last prior highs. Let's do this. Let's take the high here. These are prior highs that we should be looking at. And then we could extend this, and we could look at the 786 on this. Yeah, so look at that. 786 is in alignment with the prior highs. That's our next support that I would be watching here on Dogecoin, about 21.5 to 22 cents. 21.5 to 22 there is a support level I'd be watching for. If Dogecoin does decide to range here for a little bit, come back down, maybe SFP this, get another lower high, and then come into this, that's a level you could be watching to take along from. You'd want to see bullish divergences on your time frames because even though this is our last prior high, there's not much else there. Let's zoom out onto the weekly chart here, and let's look at this on the weekly. So what you could do is you could pull a fixed range volume pull of this entire like range that we've had in the past couple years. And okay, I do like, let me get it real precise here. There we go. I don't want to include that big volume candle because that's part of the impulse. So I would say after that, actually, you could even pull it to the top candle here, and that would be your start of your range because that's after the impulse, and then you're starting your range after that big explosive impulse. So that's where you could pull your fixed range volume pull from. You can see if your indicator's been respected in the past, more likely it will be respected in the future. And look at how well this range has been respected. Value area low held multiple times on the weekly time frame. POC kind of acted as rejection, not perfect, but it rejected multiple times. We came up to the value area high, we rejected, came down to the POC, flipped the POC to support, and that's when we broke the range to the upside. So this tells me that this is a valid range to be trading on a high time frame weekly basis. So let me get rid of some of this stuff that I drew. And so the value area high is a little bit above these. And then also on the weekly time frame, I actually like this a little bit better. We have our prior weekly high here, prior high, and in pretty close confluence with the value area high of the weekly range. So if Dogecoin comes back down to 22.8, 22.9 cents into this little box of support, I would say this box here, let me get rid of the magnet real quick. I would say like this box here is a pretty important box of support that you could be watching for to look for maybe a swing long position on the weekly time frame. If you're doing that, you'd want to zoom in onto the daily. I'd probably want to be seeing bullish divergences on the daily and 4-hour time frames. Let me get rid of that 382 now, and let me get rid of this, clean this up. So yeah, you could be looking for this level to long, 22.9 to 21.5 is a level you could be looking to start. And what might happen too is we might start to come down there and form a range and start to hold it as support. So come down here, maybe make a couple little ranges and then kind of bump up. That is something. And then you would look for low time frame bullish divergences in the range. You could pull a fixed range volume pull if you start to form a range down there, and you could look for that push up from there. Now, if we zoom out to here, let's see. We could do a pitchfork pull from the last low. I would say you could do this low here. You could pull it to the last weekly high, down to that weekly low. Okay, so what happened here? Let me zoom in here now that I got this. I'm actually going to get rid of, hide this channel for now that you guys have seen what that channel's about. You can see that we're breaking this, and you can see this pitchfork has been respected. We rejected from the midline on the weekly here, came down, chopped in the band, but we were able to hold the band of support on the weekly with these two candles. Then we broke up past it. You can see on this first weekly candle, we wicked up past it, but we closed the candle at the pitchfork midline. Finally, when we broke the pitchfork midline, we broke it all the way to the top of the pitchfork, closed the weekly candle at the top of the pitchfork. Then the next weekly candle, we busted above. So now we're coming back down. Now that we broke this pitchfork, we're coming back down for a bullish back test of the channel, or of the pitchfork, to see if we're going to hold it as support. And that was also the 0.65 daily fib pull. So remember that. We dropped into that 0.65. So we could see us continue. We could see us hold where we're at now and continue. Or we could drop to this level here, which would also be in confluence with the upper band. So say we come down here, hit into all three of these levels, which is the upper band of the pitchfork, the value area high of our weekly range, the 0.786, and our prior highs, come back here, hold, reclaim the pitchfork, and then continue higher. So that's one thing that I would be looking for on Dogecoin on a higher time frame analysis. We do have our all-time high. Is that the all-time high? Yeah, all-time high up there. That's a level you could be looking to take profit if you do long this level here, or even if you long another touch of the pitchfork and the pitchfork holds, you want to be taking some profit at the all-time high there. So let's get into this here. All-time high. Nope, that's not it. Okay, there's that all-time high. So 74 cents about is where you'd want to take some profit if you do a swing long from this 22 cents or 21.5 to 23 cents, 22.9. Long that, take some profit up here. Let's see. This could be the fourth wave of a Elliott impulse pattern too. If we go into our Elliott waves here, impulse is a 5-wave pattern, so you could see we were forming this horizontal range. Then we start to see the impulse where the start of the pitchfork is. You go your first wave there, your second wave is the bottom of the pitchfork, third wave being the most explosive, most volume filled wave. It is so far. Fourth wave correction could come down to those prior highs and the 786 and the pitchfork band. The fifth wave could be above the all-time high. We could SFP the all-time high and then start to see an ABC correction to the downside. So that is something you'd be want to watch for on Dogecoin. That's as far as high time frame analysis goes. So now I will zoom in onto the daily chart. Let's see on the daily chart, you are sort of forming this range here. You could do a fixed range volume pull from this range here. You could pull it to the start of that more horizontal price action. I would be watching for the bearish backtest of this value area low, because once again, those double lows that we formed now are going to be our prior lows that are going to be acting as resistance, are also in confluence with the value area low. So these were prior lows, but now we flipped them to resistances. So if we come back up here the next couple days, hit this, then come down here, then we could do something like that. That's something I'd be watching for on the daily chart. If you even wanted to get more low time frame analysis, you could zoom in on the 2 hour and you could trade. Let me get rid of this range now. Let me get rid of this. So you could be looking at just this little range here since the low. So you could do a fixed range pull of this range here. I would probably go to like right here. And yeah, you could see we rejected from the value area high. We're at the POC now, so we could see a small bounce here to maybe come up to these prior lows. That's resistance and value area low of our bigger range. Or we could break it, come back down. Let's see. I also see a possible golden pocket pull if we do from this high to this low here. Actually, it's not the golden pocket, it's the 786, but you can see the 786 retrace is in perfect confluence with the back test of the pitchfork. So if this bigger 0.65 golden pocket I showed you earlier is going to hold, we could chop around in here for a little bit, come down, hit this 786 at 28 cents. That would be an intraday trade I would be interested in. And I would even just bring it up. At that point, you could do a theoretical golden pocket pull from this low or that high to this low, and then you would look for the golden pocket 786. So yeah, in close confluence with the value area high 35 cents, you could take profit there. These are just little scenarios I'm looking at for trades on different time frames. We really won't know too much about this until price action develops, but these are levels to leave on your chart. So I'll probably leave this on my chart here to see if we tap into that. You could even set an alert there to see if at 28 cents, 28.1, if we hit that and you start to see a bounce, you could long that. You would want to leave an alert at these prior lows here, possible short. Let's see, you could do something like that to set an alert there to see if you're going to short it. I would want to see bearish divergence on the momentum indicator. You can see here momentum flow starting to top out. That's why we rejected from the value area high. Money flow starting to come out again. So, and then also if we zoom back out to the daily, you also always want to look at your anchored VWAPs. So we could take an anchored VWAP from the last relevant high, which sure enough, you guys, it's going to be right in confluence with those prior lows. So 36.5 is now a resistance to be watching for a short. We have many confluences there to look at. We could do the fib pull from the last high to this low, and we could look at the 0.8. Okay, that's a little higher because, and the reason why I'm looking at the 0.5, because that's also a correction target for a ABC Elliott correction. So this could be our wave A, wave B to the 0.65 prior lows, and then wave C could bring us down to these this box of support that I was just showing you guys, and then that could be our ABC correction after the big impulse, and then we could continue higher to the all-time high. So that's something I'd be watching for there. You could also do a anchored VWAP from the, I would take it from probably the bottom of this pitchfork here, and that's kind of what we're holding now. So that's also in alignment with the value area low of the daily range that we're at now, or the smaller range that we're at now. I'd say that 2 hour range. If we go to the 2 hour chart, you can see, yeah, okay. So a little bit lower, but that's just an idea to look at. You always want to pay attention to those anchor VWAPs. That one's not super relevant to me. All right, so that's Dogecoin. Next, I'm going to go to Dash. Dash. Okay, I don't think I've ever looked at Dash before. Let's zoom out onto the weekly. And then also, you guys, I haven't been looking at, I should probably be showing you guys this too, because I do this. You want to look at high time frame resistances. So we have a weekly resistance here. And we have our weekly support, but we're only in Monday, so I wouldn't, this only weekly open. It hasn't confirmed. And then you would put your weekly support down here. Hopefully we don't drop that low again. Actually, I'm not even gonna keep that on the chart, because if we drop that low again, there's levels to look at probably before that. I do see a possible range that we could pull. I would be doing a fixed range volume pull on the weekly from the present day to probably the start right here. And you can see, let's see how nice. I don't really like that range pull very much. Let's do it from this low here. It's been kind of respected. This coin is probably a little bit more low liquidity, so you're going to see wicks, and it's not going to respect these value areas as much as a higher liquidity coin like Bitcoin would, or some of the top alts. So, and then we could even pull it to, you can see we were kind of forming this downtrend here, and then right about here is when we started to kind of go more sideways. So that's why you could pull the range from this low here where we started to go more sideways. And sure enough, I like that range a lot better, because you can see the value area low is far more respected. The POC's been respected more times than not. And the value area high is what we're back testing now. So we had the breakout of this little range. We came to test it, and now, or we're doing a bullish back test of it now, and it looks like we're holding, even though we wicked a little bit past it on the weekly. We're holding. Now, this coin is not in bullish trend on the weekly like some of the other coins are. What you could do is you could do a bearish pitchfork. So in a bearish pitchfork, you go from a high rather than from a low. We're going to be looking for bearish continuation. So you can go from a high to a last key low on the weekly. I would probably go to this one. We could pull it here. That pitchfork is respected on the weekly. Let me get rid of this range so you guys can see that. You can see how well this lower band has been respected. We had some chop in this. We had the upper band reject us. We had the top reject us here. We came back to the midline here, bounced to the upper band again, rejected from the upper band, came back down to the midline, held the midline, came back up to the upper band, came back down to the midline again, chopped in the band, finally broke it to the upside. So what we could do now is we could do a fib pull from the last weekly low to the high. We'd be looking at the golden pocket. We broke the golden pocket, so we'd be looking at the 786. So we bounced from the 786 almost to the dollar, you can see. 786 here, we bounced. So we're holding the 786. It's kind of iffy on if this is going to continue or not. You can see momentum's topped out. Let's zoom into the daily chart. Let's see how the daily looks here. Now, daily did get the green dot, momentum wave bottomed, and money flow is coming back up. So this 786 might hold. We don't see bullish divergences here, really. But we might see a small bounce. So if you think there's going to be a small bounce that happens, what you could do is do a fib pull from this high to this low. And you could look at a couple levels. You could look at the golden pocket first and foremost. Golden pocket is the back test of the weekly. So, okay, right away, that tells me that this is a key resistance to be watching. We have the fresh weekly level of resistance that hasn't been tested in confluence with the back test of the golden pocket. So if we are going to continue this on a daily time frame, making lower highs, then lower lows, then lower highs, then lower lows, something to be watching is the at 57 cents, 57.7 to 58 is a resistance to possibly short this. You'd want to see some bearish divergences on like 4 hours, 2 hours, maybe even the daily. Because if we slowly come up here, make a lower momentum wave, well, actually, that wouldn't be bearish divergence because you need a higher high to make bearish divergence. So, but it could be a trigger wave that we're looking at. All right. Let's zoom back out onto the weekly real quick, and let's see if I can see anything else. Yeah, this is kind of a tough chart here. I don't really like Dash so much. Let me get rid of that. So we could do a fib pull from this high back down to the lows here. We could look at the golden pocket, but we're going to want to go into settings because we're on the log scale. We're going to choose our fibs based off log scale. So we want to choose our fib levels based off log scale. And right away, we can see here that our prior high on the weekly is aligning really nicely. A key prior high on the weekly is aligning nicely with that. So that is a more macro level to be looking at for an SFP into the golden pocket. You guys, swing failure patterns into golden pockets are a key support and resistance that I like to trade. If I see an SFP into a golden pocket, man, I'm gonna, if I see confirmation, I'm gonna take that trade every single time. I might not win it every single time, but I'm gonna take it every single time if I see confirmation. So 150, 139 to 138.8 to 139 is a level you could be watching to do a swing failure pattern into these highs, into this macro golden pocket from this high to the low, the weekly high to low fib pull. On the daily chart, let's see, now that we broke this pitchfork, let me change this real quick and see. Let me go to a modified. Let's go to an inside pitchfork. Okay, I do like this inside pitchfork actually a lot because you can see how well it's held on the weekly time frame. It's been pretty nicely respected on the weekly time frame here, and we're back testing it right now, and we're holding above it. So on the weekly, we're back testing. I'm going to zoom into the daily chart. You can see that we're back testing this pitchfork midline or pitchfork break, the break of the bearish pitchfork. We broke it, the bearish pitchfork. We came coming back down. We wicked into the 786, which held, which is a good sign, and we're consolidating above this support or trying to flip it to support on a daily time frame. We're trying to flip it to support to hold, and then we could continue up that. So if we come back down, what you could do now is, okay, I'm possibly interested in a long based off what we're seeing on the daily with the daily momentum weight bottomed out with money flow rising. Now we could, okay, we're interested in a long from this potential area. Zoom in on the 2-hour chart and you start to look at this last range that formed on the 2-hour chart. So your fixed range pull, the sideways price action. Remember, we're trading sideways price action. So you could do this pull, and if we come back down to the value area low, which is very close to this pitchfork again, you could long this. Right now, we're trying to break this little range, but it looks like we're starting to fail. You could even long the POC, which is also probably a golden pocket of this very small pull. So let's do, actually, I'm going to do it from this low here to this high. Yep, it's the golden pocket. So at 36 cents, what is that? 36.4 is the POC. You could even, if you think altcoin's going to turn and Bitcoin's going to hold, you could long this here on a day trade. You could bring it up. You could take, first of all, I would take profit at these kind of triple highs we're seeing. You know, we have, I mean, we did take the liquidity here of that high already. So I'd be pulling it to this high here. You could SFP this high and the liquidity from this high. That would be a take profit one, maybe 20% of your position. Ride it up to this local golden pocket at $58 or so, 58, 57. And then take maybe another 50% profit there, let the rest ride for much higher. Or you could be looking for, you know, a dip back lower, those lower supports that I was talking about. Let's zoom back out on, I'll do the 12-hour chart here. Let's see here. So, yeah, I mean, this is kind of a crappy chart, you guys. I don't know. I don't know if I like this chart so much. Let's see. So we've got the value area high of the bigger range. I'm going to get rid of some of this stuff here. Okay, so let's see. Kind of holding the value area high of this larger range, but it's not so nice here. POC is not in confluence with anything. We could look for naked POCs on this push up. So we could go to something like the session volume profile. We could turn that on. And what the session volume profile does is I've got it set to the daily. So it's going to show me all naked daily levels naked daily POCs, point of control, where the most volume is traded, because you can see naked dailies often hold. You can see when we came down to this naked daily point of control, it held overall. We pumped up, but we've got a lot of naked daily levels to look at. But you can also see more confluence up at this 57 level, 57, 58 level. We have a naked daily POC up here with this sort of, so 57, 58 cents is definitely big resistance that I'm going to be looking to short. We could set an alert to look for short with confirmation. So yeah, we could do that, short with confirmation. Okay, but I don't like those naked dailies so much. I'm going to turn this off now. You could do a anchored VWAP from the top here. I bet you that's a 0.5. A little bit lower. Okay, so I mean, I would say that the golden pocket's far more important, and I wouldn't be paying too much attention to this anchored VWAP. You could do an anchored VWAP from the low. Let's zoom back out onto the weekly chart. You could do an anchored VWAP from this last key weekly low where we had that swing failure pattern of, see, we swing failed this weekly low here. And so you could pull an anchor VWAP from there. And then let's go zoom in so we can see what we're looking at onto the daily. Okay, so we're holding the anchored VWAP after flipping it. You can see we rejected a few times on the daily. We finally broke above it on yesterday's candle. And now we're trying to hold it and flip it to support. I don't know if it's going to hold. If that's the only level you got there, be careful just longing that. It could be the value area high of the range. So let's zoom into the 2-hour chart. Let me get rid of this bigger range so we can clean up the chart. Let's re-pull the fib pull of the sideways price action that's relevant that we're trading now. And not so much nice alignment there. You can see we're trying to hold this value area high now after breaking it up to the upside. If we can hold it, we might move up, but I like the POC a little bit better. I think because the POC, yeah, the POC is the golden pocket retrace as well. So I wouldn't be paying attention to this anchored VWAP very much either. All right, so Dash is kind of, you guys, there's so many options to trade on the market right now. Don't take trades on crappy coins. If you don't see good setups, don't force it. Go to a coin where you see a good setup. So like here for this chart for me, the only thing I'd be interested in is shorting that 58 cent level if we get up there. As far as longing goes, you know, you could long another back test of this pitchfork. This pitchfork with in confluence with let's do this actually. We could do pull from this last low to this high here. Nope, that's not it there. And the golden pocket is close to the value area low, so you could long the value area low to the bigger golden pocket pull. But actually, never mind. I wouldn't do that because we already hit that into that golden pocket. You can see from low to high, came to the golden pocket, we bounced from the golden pocket, came to the golden pocket again, bounced. So I wouldn't pay attention to that golden pocket either. So yeah, Dash, don't like it, to be honest with you. That doesn't mean you can't buy it on spot and write it up if you're bullish on it. Keep going, you know, have your conviction. I'm going on to the next coin. It's going to be Batcoin. I don't think I've ever looked at Batcoin either. Batcoin USDT. Bitcoin. Batcoin. Let me look here. Batcoin. Oh, it's against Solana. Okay. Batcoin Sol. I don't even know if this is going to be on TradingView's chart. Ooh, this is very low liquidity. Let's check this out. So Batcoin Sol. Nah, it's not going to be on here. We could do Dex screener. Come on. All right. think this is the same one. Let's just choose this one here. Very little liquidity. You guys, man, this is tough. Let's go on to the daily chart. Ooh, there's, wow. I mean, well, you could trade this range. Let's see. Do we even have a fixed range volume pull here? I don't know if Deck Screener has the fixed range volume pull. One thing I do see right away is a channel, not a fib channel, parallel channel. Let's see. Is that even? Well, let's just take the fib channel. Okay, so we'll do a fib channel. So we'll go from the bottom. Let's see, do we have the magnet tool? Let me just get rid of this. Let me get, now that we got the magnet on, we'll take the fib channel, go from the bottom to this high here, pull it up to this high here. I'm going to go into settings. We're going to extend it to the left, extend it to the right. We are going to get rid of the background. And I am just going to go with 0 and 1. No, and the 0.5. Okay, that's a way to make a channel. All right, so yeah, we are still kind of forming this channel. Actually, I would pull it to this low here. You can see that we are kind of forming this ascending channel. We tried to break it to the upside, but we failed and we came back down. We're testing the midline now. We're trying to hold the midline. This is very low liquidity. If I had the range tool, I would take a fixed range tool from this spot here and pull it here and measure the range of this area, see the value area high, the value area low, and the POC of this range. You could trade that range. I don't have that tool, so there's not much. I mean, this coin looks pretty shady. It looks like it dropped quite a bit, and then it's just been ranging ever since. And it looks like a kind of new coin as well. Let's see here. Let me go back to this fib channel. Let me go into settings, and I'm going to turn on the 1.618. You could be looking to take profit at the 1.618. Let's see. Looks like we already took the liquidity from this little high here. So we had that high. We took the liquidity, and we're dropping now. On the 4-hour chart, you could do something like a fib pull from the low to the high, and you could look for the golden pocket. Let me turn off the background. Let me turn off the prices, levels. So let's see. 618 is at the bottom of the channel, or the 0.5 actually is in better alignment with the bottom of the channel here. So if we did bounce from here, rejected from the top of the channel, came back down to the bottom of the channel, which would be in alignment with the 0.5, then you might continue trading this trend. But this coin, man, I don't know if I'd even be looking at this coin. It looks very low liquidity. I could be trading the wrong chart, you guys. So I'm sorry to whoever requested this. I can't be of much help on this one, you guys. So sorry about that. Okay, I'm going to go on to the next one. It's going to be XRP, which I do trade XRP, and it's here. Let me zoom out onto the weekly chart. Okay, so XRP. Yeah, all right, I want to show you guys something on XRP. We had this very, very bullish pitchfork on the weekly level from the last weekly low to the high to the low, and we just had this major explosion. You can see this value area high I had. It was probably the value area high of the range that we had been in for a year or so. I'd say, like, you know, from here. Yeah, that's the value area high of this range, this accumulation range we've been in since May of 2022. So we've been chopping and trading this range for a while, and we rejected the last couple times on the weekly, held the POC, and then we saw the explosion up, and we just exploded through everything. Now we are, if you look, I'm going to zoom in onto the daily chart now. Actually, I'm going to get rid of that range now that you guys saw that. I'm going to zoom in onto the daily chart, and you can see that both times we came down to kind of back test this pitchfork after breaking it. And you can see even on the daily chart, the pitchfork was respected, came up to the top band, rejected, formed kind of a bull flag, busted up through it, held it as support, busted up again, coming back down, holding it as support here, busted up to, I think that was probably it's the value area high of this smaller range up here that we're forming, but it was probably also a fib level. So if we go from the high to the low, yeah, it was golden pocket 786. So I bet you that's the 786 as well. Yep, 786. So rejected from the 786, came back down to the bottom of the range. We're holding the value area low of this range on the daily, this smaller range. But technically, we still haven't came to retest the pitchfork. We've front ran it a couple times, and with weekly pitchforks, you will see a little bit of front runs like this, just because it's such a macro time frame. But you can see they're also respected to the dollar. So I would maybe be interested in if we came down to like 192.5, 192, 191.5. If we actually touched this pitchfork retest and we were holding it, also I can see it's a key SFP of this low. You can see the SFP of the range low into the pitchfork might be a really nice level to long. Something like, we lose this value area low, come back, test it, flip it to resistance, come in here, SFP, reclaim the pitchfork, and then pump. And this also kind of does look like a bull flag. Let me get rid of some of this stuff for you. So if I get rid of this range here, you can see we're starting to form a bull flag here. So high, we could bring the channel from the high to the next lower high, bring it to the lows. And this could be a like daily bull flag with quite a big pull on it as well. Now I know RLUSD, which is the stable coin that's actually regulated, is just launched the other day by XRP, and it's pretty bullish for XRP, to be honest. So that is something you could be looking at. This might be a bull flag because XRP has very bullish potential because of favorable regulation. So if we come back down to the bottom of the channel or to that pitchfork retest, we hold that as support. You could see we could easily, I wouldn't say easily, pump up to $10 here, $11 actually. That would be the flag. Now, I would probably play this flag more conservative, and I would pull the pull like something like this from this low here, and then even that flag, that even though the flag's getting kind of long for that pull, you could pull it up to here, and you could look at 420, that's that level. You guys probably know what I'm talking about. So there is something. So right now I'd be trading this little channel, this descending channel, and what we could do now is we could do the anchored VWAP from the top of the channel, and we could be looking at that. We could do a fixed range value pull, fixed range volume profile from present day to the start of the consolidation, like to the end of the pump. Actually, what in that case I'd want to zoom in. I would zoom into like a 2-hour chart, and we would want to get this pull to where the impulse stops. So we would want to bring it probably like, you could either bring it to this high here or even to the start of the channel. That's actually what I like better. So right here. And you'd want to trade this range here. Let's see what we got here. So I still do like the 190 level because that's the SFP of this flag into the higher retest of the weekly pitchfork. So 190 is a level I would be looking to long with bullish divergences on 2-hour, 1 hour, 15-minute, stuff like that. If we do hold this value area low, we could see another rotation down on the 2-hour to the midline. If we hold the midline and the value area low, we could pump up. You could even take it to the value area high, which depending on time, it could be in kind of close alignment with the top of the channel. We could do a fixed range or a fib pull from the last high that was made to the low. You could look at the golden pocket. So the 786 is right above the value area high. But if we do the golden pocket's right above the POC. So, And then we do have the anchored VWAP from the highs right at the POC. So this is kind of an area of resistance to be looking at from the golden pocket to that anchored VWAP. So that's a level you could be looking to short, like 246, 240-ish. Let's see. Yeah, 241, 240, 241. You might come up to here, you might reject from here and then come back down to the bottom. So you could, if you were looking at intraday trades or like, you know, a lower time frame trade, we could take it up to here. We could short this area here and then take it down to the bottom where we take the liquidity into the weekly pitchfork and then continue higher. Maybe see the breakout of the bull flag. And that's a possible bull flag. This is not anything confirmed. One way to look at a bull flag to see if it's a valid bull flag is, let's go onto the daily chart, and you want to see, as the flag is forming, you want to see volume decreasing. So we could go into indicators, we can go into volume, we could click on the volume here. So and this is looking good actually, you guys. So let me show you this, because a lot of people will trade flag patterns or like what, you know, these trading patterns, but they don't look at volume confirmation for this. So you can see we had the explosive break all the way up here, volume increasing, big spikes of volume. We had the big spike of volume at the top. And then since the top, you can see volume's been decreasing as the channel is forming. And that's what you want to see. As this channel forms, you want to see volume decreasing. So we do have volume confirmation that this could be a valid bull flag. Most people don't look at volume confirmation, because if volume is increasing while this channel is decreasing, then that is a sign that it could be a fake out of a bull flag and something that market makers use to wreck traders that don't pay attention to that. So, and then you could also look at the bottom of the channel. One thing we could do is we could do a fib pull of, let me turn on my magnet and redo that. We could do a fib pull of the last daily low to the high. And okay, look at this. This is starting to line up real nice, you guys. So that 190 level, 190 is definitely a level I'd be looking along. Actually, I am going to set an alert on this SFP. So SFP long, I would want to see bull divs only. So bull divs, and then yeah, because that's a golden pocket. That's the retest of the weekly pitchfork that we broke out of and the swing failure liquidity grab of these lows. And we do have the bottom of the channel, but the bottom of the channel is already kind of going a little bit past that. Let's see. Let me just undo that. Okay, and so one thing we could do is we could take this channel and we could bring it to that low there. Let's see how well the midline's respected if we take it to that one. So let's go on to the 4 hour. Let me get rid of some stuff so I can see better. Okay, so that midline is pretty well respected. Let's go to the midline of the other poll that I had. I like this midline better, so I'd use that rate. I'd use this channel. I wouldn't use the other one. So, but still 190 with the golden pocket with the liquidity grab into the weekly bullish back test of the weekly broken pitchfork. 190 is a possible level to look for along on XRP to bring it up. Even if you bring it up, say you long this 190 level, my first take profit would, well, not my first one, but a definite take profit would be this high here, because you could still see the fake breakout. So say we are doing something like, you know, ranging for a bit, come down to here, hit this swing failure pattern into the bullish retest of the pitchfork, reclaim, breakout, reclaim, boom, hit into their SFP, and then we could drop. Now, so you definitely want to take some profit at these highs just in case, and then protect position. You could be looking for the short at the SFP up here. We could also do a fib pull of the high of the channel to the low of the channel. Let's see. Okay, we've already hit the golden pot. Well, actually, that was before, but we already did hit into the golden pocket there and to the 786. That's right. I already showed you guys that. So, so we don't want to necessarily be looking at that too much. You could also trade the channel. These channels work, you guys. I've traded them. People that are in the Discord see that I trade. If we get to the top of the channel here, we could short the top of the channel, bring it down to the midline. We could short the bottom of the channel, bring it up to the midline, bring it up to the top. So that's just something to be looking at. But 190 is the real big level I'd be interested in longing XRP on. And then I would just look, once you get down there, look at the fib pull, look at, so you could take the fib pull at the golden pocket. So if we do a theoretical golden pocket pull, we go from the high and say we just go to like right here, the swing failure pattern. And sure enough, look, guys, if we even long that, I would be taking profit at the top of the channel in confluence with the 786, depending on how long it took to get there. So let me get rid of this, get this out of your way. So say we kind of chop down here, come down, swing failure pattern, reclaim the midline, come up to the top of the channel in the 786. You could take profit right there, take 50% profit just in case you keep chopping in the channel. But you could also hold it hoping for the big breakout of the bull flag and much higher targets. But you also want to look at the prior high for a swing failure pattern, because if you confirm a swing failure pattern, then you could take profit on the confirmation of the swing failure pattern. Okay, XRP's done. Let's go to SUI. SUI USDT. All right. Let's zoom out onto the weekly. SUI, and let me now turn off the volume that I just turned on. Let me get rid of this channel that's no longer relevant. Okay, so let's see. I would pull, you could do a channel from the last weekly low to the high, pull it up to actually the beginning high here. Yeah, that's pretty nice. You could see that we held the midline here, rejected kind of from the midline here. Now, once we broke it on the weekly, we came back, bullishly backtested it. We're continuing higher. You could also do this channel pull to this high here. That's kind of nice too. All right, let's do something different here. Let's look at pitchforks. We could go from the last weekly low to the weekly high, back down to the weekly low. I'm going to change this to a original pitchfork. Okay, so we're trading in the upper band of the pitchfork right now. Let me zoom in onto the daily to see how good this looks, because I don't know about this one yet. I mean, it's decent. You know, we held the lower band here. You know, we held it as support this first time here. Couldn't break above. Dropped to the bottom of the pitchfork band, lower band. Came up, chopped around this midline for a while, flipped it to support, lost it again. You can see we retested again, finally broke it to the upside, came up to the upper band, rejected the first time from the upper band, came up to the top of the upper band, and we're struggling with the top of the upper band here. So I would say this is kind of valid. Let me change this to a modified skiff, and let's see how that works. I mean, you could see that this pitchfork was respected, and we broke it. So now we could also be looking for a back test here, which is also, you can see that XRP, or not XRP, SUI is kind of trading in the same sort of ascending channel that Bitcoin is in. So if we take this channel here, we bring it down to these lows, or actually I would bring it down to this low here. You could see it's a pretty nice ascending daily channel, just like on Bitcoin. Let's see here. Yeah, you could do a fib pull from the last big daily swing low up to the high. And we could look at the golden pocket. So you guys, here again, just like with XRP, we break a key bullish pitchfork. Sometimes you will come back down, and I do see multiple confluences here already, because we have the liquidity resting at the bottom of this channel, which oftentimes when you break an ascending channel to the downside, and usually you have a 63 to 68% to break an ascending channel to the downside, you'll sweep the liquidity that started that channel, the low of the start of the channel, or at least one of the other lows, like this low here. But I like this low here on the daily, because we didn't sweep it on this next daily candle we pumped before. So we have the bullish backtest of the weekly pitchfork into a macro golden pocket pull on a daily swing level, into the liquidity grab at the bottom of the channel. So what is that? 282 to 277 is a good level I'd be watching. If we do break this channel, like, Bitcoin's already ahead of this. Bitcoin has kind of came down, broken the channel, had the bearish backtest, and now on Bitcoin, we're starting to dump to the bottom levels. So we could dump to this level here, hold that, and then continue higher. So 282 to 277.5 is a level I'd be watching to long SUI on. You could also do something like a fib pull of the low of the channel on the daily to the high. Let's see, is that the high? That's 496. So yeah, 496 here. Okay, and looks like we already swung into that golden pocket. You could see on that wick that we had here on December 19th, we already wicked into the golden pocket. So that's not as relevant if we didn't wick into it. We could look at the 786 though. 786 is in confluence. Let's see here. So one thing we could look at is we do have a fresh daily level here. We could be looking at that fresh daily level. We front ran. That's a daily level that is fresh that we haven't wicked into that daily level yet, because you can see we front ran it yesterday. We took the daily here. We took the daily here. We took the daily here. So you can see how every time Bitcoin establishes a daily support, like right here, we pumped up to the midline, rejected for the midline, came down, held the daily, pumped up to the midline again, made a new daily. So we can take that daily, we can put it to the new daily. Broke, hit the midline, but we're able to hold, broke above, came back down to the daily again. So we're literally, every time we make a fresh daily support, we're holding the daily and we're making new highs. So now we have this daily here that hasn't been tested. It's a fresh daily. So this is lower time frame analysis, but we have that fresh daily at 407.54, 407 that we haven't tested yet. So what we could do is we could zoom in. Let's zoom in onto the 2-hour chart. We could do a fib pull from the last big low to the high, and we could look at the golden pocket. Okay, the golden pocket's right below that daily here, so we might see a move down to like 407 to 403, kind of something like this. If we break this channel to the downside, come back up, back test it, come here, hit into here, hold that, and then continue higher to the top of the channel. I do like that other level much better, but that's far lower, so we need to be watching for that far lower. And also, I'm going to get rid of this daily on the chart because it was already tapped, and I don't want to confuse you guys. So that's something you could be watching for. And then the 786 hasn't been tapped either, which is this level here that we're looking at. Yeah, you could do a, now that we kind of established some lower time price action stuff, you could do a fixed range volume pull of the channel's price action. So I bring it to like right here. And okay, so look at this. We're holding the value area high. We broke the value area high. We're coming back to bullishly backtest it. We are holding it and we're pumping up. But we do have the POC of this range in confluence with the bottom of the channel, and that's probably also the 786. 786, yeah. Okay, so this is another level of support that I'd be looking at before, because if we come back down to the bottom of the channel again, we could just make another bounce from the bottom of the channel and continue trading in this ascending channel for quite a while. Bitcoin's been trading in it for quite a while. So POC 786, bottom of the channel around 3.7954 is a level that you could be looking to long that. If you long that, which is the POC, you could do your first take profit at the value area high of the range, just in case at 415. That's still a decent risk to reward ratio. I mean, kind of, because if you're going to long this here, you have to put your stop below this low here. And then, yeah, so that's actually not good, because that is, in that case, if that's only a 1.17 risk to reward ratio, in that case, you'd probably want to bring it to the highs to look for, like, we have 3 semi-equal highs here that you'd want to be looking to. Actually, we had 2 semi-equal highs and we took the liquidity, but we do have this high that we haven't taken liquidity on. So you could take it just to that high there, and that gives you a 3.92 risk to reward ratio. You could also do something like this if you really wanted to get a little bit less technical, but like be, have a very specific trade. Okay, I'm going to long the 786 in the bottom of the channel as long as the POC. But if I lose that, I'm going to cut my trade at the 886. So if we lose the 786, I'm going to cut it at the 886. So in that case, you would come to your 786 here. You'd put the 886 on the chart, and then you'd move your stop loss to the 886, because if you lose the 786, go to the 886, you're probably going to, if you hit an 886, usually even if you bounce, you'll come back down and take it eventually. So, and that's actually a really good risk reward ratio. That's a 9-to-1 risk reward ratio. So yeah, that's something you'd be looking at, but also you would want to do a fib pull. So if we came down from there, you do a fib pull from there to the 786, the bottom of the channel, and then you would look for your golden pocket as a take profit level as well. But this is all too theoretical, you guys. We don't know about any of this, so I'm kind of getting into the weeds here. Let me get rid of some of this stuff. But you could look at this channel here. You could look at this range pull and just kind of go off of that. I do like this 786 into the bottom of the channel, as well as that POC at 3.7954. And then you could also be looking to, if we do SFP these highs, you could be looking, like say we come up to there and we bounce from the midline right now that we're at, and then we come up to SFP the high. So bounce from the midline, come up, and we do confirm an SFP the high. Then you could short the SFP the high to look to bring it down to the 786, and then the long or take profit there and possibly long it there. So those are just some trading ideas on SUI. Let's look here. Let me do one more thing. Let me zoom back out onto the daily chart. You could do the anchored VWAP from the last daily low, the last key daily low. You could look at that. Okay, I don't really like that. I don't like the 786, so I'm going to get rid of it. And we could even do an anchored VWAP from the bottom. Okay, so depending on how long it takes you guys, this anchored VWAP might rise to this 282 level, which I think 282 is the big support. The SFP at the bottom of the channel liquidity into the bullish retest of the weekly pitchfork and the golden pocket swing golden pocket pull on the daily, that is looking good. So that is the major level I'd be looking to long. You could also long 3.79 as the 786 POC of this channel, and the 786 POC bottom of channel. All right, so that's kind of that for SUI. Otherwise, I don't know if I'd be looking at too much. Let me get rid of a lot of this stuff now. And I'm gonna keep this channel on the chart. Oops. And I'm going to keep this on the chart. I'm going to keep this on the chart. I am going to keep this on the chart. Now I'm going to delete this. Okay, so we could look something like here. It looks like we're seeing this downwards price action. We made the low. Now we're starting to come back up. We could look for a steep ascending channel. Yeah, I actually do like this ascending channel. Let's see if I take it to this one. That's pretty nice. I don't know if I would use that high though. Let's look at this high. Yeah, I like this high. Okay, so you can see that also on the daily time frame, we're in a very steep ascending channel. One touch, a little bit front run, but 2 touch, 3 touch, 4 touches of this ascending channel. On the top side, we have 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, 4 touches on the top. So this is a pretty nice ascending channel that I'd be watching as well on the daily time frame. Let's see. I bet you the 786 retrace is also... No, that's not. Let's see here. Let me go into this. Okay, so let's do the 786. Let's do from the last touch of the channel to the highs. This high here. Let's look, oops. Let's look at the 382. Okay, so the 382 of this is in confluence with the bottom of this channel at 374, and I do believe that's where the daily's at as well, a little bit higher. Okay. That's a level you could be watching, but I wouldn't put it is also our last kind of near our last prior highs on the daily. Here, kind of a little bit higher, but okay, I don't know. I don't know if I'd pay too much attention to that. So I would keep this channel on the chart because it is being respected. And if we go to the bottom of the channel, you could be looking for another long at the bottom of the channel in confluence with the bigger 382, because 382 in a strong trend, which this steep, very steep ascending channel is a strong trend to say the very least. So the 382 often acts support in as support in a strong trend. So if we come back down here, you could see that too, and the steep channel could continue. Let's do this actually. Let's do the steep channel that we just put on the chart, and let's do the other parallel channel. No, that's, did I get rid of it? No, it's right here. Okay, actually, that's very nice. So we have two channels. The first channel I was looking at, I'm going to actually change that channel to a pink channel so that you guys can see the difference. But you can see this is actually a very, very nice. So 374 looks very nice because it is the bottom of the channel. It's the range pull of this range here from the just the entire ascending of the pink channel, peak channel price action, and the 786 of the smaller pull. So that's actually very nice. 374, you guys, looking good. Just found this right now live, so sorry about that little bit of mix up there. But okay, check this out. 4 big confluences. POC of the range of the ascending channel. We've got the smaller pink ascending channel on the daily that's less steep in confluence with the very steep, bigger ascending channel with the bigger 382, which often acts as support in the strong trend. So 374, 379, looking good here, you guys. This is what I would be looking at for my first long on this, on SUI. And then highs, of course, shorts, you'd want to be looking for SFPs of the highs. You could also be looking at the top of the pink channel. Say it takes a while, you guys. Say we do something like this. We come down, hit into this, long it, come back up, reject the midline for the first time, come back, do something like this, and it takes a while, and we see perfect confluence with the midline of the very steep channel in confluence with the top of the pink channel. Then around, what is that, $6, you could look for a short or a take profit. So that's something to watch as well on SUI. I'm kind of getting into the weeds again with some of this stuff. So that's what I'm going to go for SUI. Now I'm going to go to say USDT. Okay, let's go on to the weekly chart. Okay, I see something right away. I see a nice possible channel. Oop. Here, lower high, bring it to the bottom on the weekly. Look at nicely respected channel. Midline was holding for a while. We rejected it, came back up for a bearish backtest to the midline. Good. Flipped the midline, retested it as bullishly, pumped to the top again. Okay, so I like this channel. This is something we could look at. Now we zoom in on, well, actually, let's look real quick here. So we do have a weekly support here, weekly support that we can keep on the chart because we have not tested that yet. And we also have a weekly resistance up here we could look at. Okay. Now let's go on to the daily chart. Daily chart here. So you can see this is pretty nicely respected. This channel is here. You can see how well it held the midline, all through here, back tested. So let's go to now. What we could do is I even see a smaller channel that we could be breaking. We could be breaking if we go from here to here, pull it up to this. Yeah, we were in a little smaller channel, but I'm not going to show you guys that. So look at this, you guys. The back test of the weekly is in confluence with the midline. So that would be really nice to come in. You know, if we keep dropping, drop down to the weekly back test of the midline, come up to the top of the channel, which is also the weekly resistance. So that right there could be a trade. You could long this area here, long this weekly with a take profit at the top of the channel. Put your stop below this last prior low, like this low here. Let me turn off the magnet tool. So long the weekly, bring it to the top of the channel. Here, weekly, put your stop below the last prior low, because if you're going to make new lows, your trade is invalidated. Look at that. That's a 12-to-1 risk reward ratio. Now, maybe you want to leave a little bit of breathing room like here. Make sure we got it right on the weekly here. 8-to-1 risk reward ratio. That's a great trade. Then say that we do that. We come down here, we long that, we bring it up to here, we take profit because this is our weekly in confluence with the top of the channel. We would take our short, we'd go here, short, invalidation above the high, the local high. You could bring it down to take the lows of the channel or the lows. One thing to look for too, actually, depending on how long it takes, we could see an SFP of this liquidity here into the midline and the weekly. So depending on if we SFP or not, say we don't SFP, say we front run it, then you could take profit on your short, on the second short I was just showing you here, you know, like that. So that's something you could be looking at there. On, say, we could do a fixed range value pull of the volume of this kind of channel here. And okay, look how nice this looks, you guys. So we have the value area high in very close confluence with this weekly in the top of the channel. This is definitely a level I'd be looking to short for in this box here. So here I'd be looking for shorts, and the value area low, the swing failure pattern, the weekly in the midline of the channel here. You'd be looking for longs around here. Simple as that. Trade the range until it breaks, trade the trend. That is what I'd be looking at. So 69 cents and 34.8, 33, 34.8 to 33 cents. That's what I'd be looking at for trades there. Now, if we bounce here at the POC, it might bounce at the POC here and then go up to the top first. We don't know that. You kind of have to look. We do have the momentum wave bottomed on the daily with the green dot, so we could reclaim this POC right now and continue. I guess that's going to depend on what Bitcoin does as well. But right now, just trading the local trend on the daily. I wouldn't say local. I mean, it goes all the way back to December of 2023. But this last year trend here, we have two very key levels to look for long and shorts. These two boxes that I just highlighted for you. So that's say last coin I'm going to go through real quick is ENA. Okay, ENA. Wow. All right. Let me look at something here on the daily chart. So I do see this channel that we were kind of trading in. Let me do this poll. Okay, that's kind of nice. There. Yeah, that channel was being respected. You can see rejected, came to the midline, came up top again, rejected, came back down, but then we were able to break it, flip it to support, came back down on the daily, tested its support, continued higher, tested its support a second time, wicked a little bit into it, but held it, came back up. So what we could do now in this case, you take this channel and we're going to turn it into a fib channel so we can get extinctions on it. So where is the fib channel? So we're going to do the same pull from this low here to this high and bring it to the same high. Same channel, you guys, that I just pulled, but look at, sure enough, just like on Bitcoin, the 1.618 rejected us here, rejected us here. That's exactly what happened on Bitcoin too, on the fib channel that I'm showing you guys on Bitcoin. But this is the bullish bull market trend kind of, or the trend that's been going on since September. So we can look at this trend. You can see the midline was respected real well. Like this is kind of the midline golden pocket of the channel, this little band here. Rejected from the 618. So if we do come back down to test this top of the channel again, you might look for a long there. We could do some theoretical fib pulls. So let's go on to just zoom into this price action here. Let's go do a fib retrace pull from the last low to the high. And let's go to the golden pocket first and foremost. We front ran the golden pocket. Okay, so this dip front ran the golden pocket. One thing that would be kind of nice to see is us, maybe we come here, we bounce or break through it, bearishly backtest it, then come down to this golden pocket band in confluence with the golden pocket of the last daily swing position, and then continue higher. So that's, 80, what is that? 81.5-ish. 81.5 is a level I'd be looking for a long at. It's also, we do have some liquidity resting a little bit above 84. And then if you do, okay, so that's an idea that we can look at. Another idea is, say we come down. Oh, what am I doing? Okay, let's zoom in here onto the 2-hour chart. And we are going to look at a fib pull from the last low on the 2-hour chart to this high. And let's look, I bet you the 786 is the back test of the channel. So 786, yeah, back test of the channel is the 786. So if you're really bullish on this and you think it's going to continue to bounce from this channel now that we broke it, you could be looking for a long at 93 cents pretty much. And then I would take it up to the 618 again, or up to the highs. You could look for SFP of this high into the 618 again. So that's actually a nice trade to look at. Here, come down here, hold the back test of the channel into the local 786, SFP into the 618 again, and then drop and continue to range. You could also look at this range now. So we could do like the more horizontal price action. So the first time we hit the 618, we were pumping pretty aggressively until the very first time we hit the fib 618, 1.618, excuse me. And then we started to form this horizontal range since then. So you could pull these two. And sure enough, the value area low is in pretty close confluence with the back test of this channel and the 786. So that's a level to look at along the value area low, 786 back test of the fib channel, the main channel. You could pull it. In that case, this is kind of getting into the weeds again, I know, but we could do a fib pull from the local high. Say we did come to the 786. And then sure enough, the new 786 is at the value area high. So that would be definitely a TP1. TP1 at 1.16, TP2 up here at the swing failure pattern of 1.33, and then leave just maybe 10% of your position open to run. I'd maybe TP 25 to 35% of your position here, maybe TP another 30% up here, and then let it run. So that is E&A there for you. You could also, if we zoom out, let me zoom back out onto the daily chart. Let me get rid of some of this stuff that I just showed you guys. I'm going to keep this fib channel and these 786s on because they're nice. And then also the bigger play, if we do dump hard, look at that 81.5. But you could do a anchored VWAP from the big high, the last big high that we created here. Let's see. Okay, the anchored VWAP's kind of where we're rejecting from right now. You can see on the daily, we wicked up to it, but we wicked past it, but couldn't close. And now we're forming a red candle at that resistance and dropping. So, and momentum waves don't look bottomed out yet. I do think we can get a drop to the 786 and the value area low in confluence with the back test of the channel at 92.3-ish, 0.923. Yep. And then so we could do a anchored VWAP from the low. And you could even pull it from, there's a couple anchored VWAPs. We could do an anchored VWAP from this low here, the last touch of the channel. Oh, look at that. That's nice. So the last touch of the main channel, the anchored VWAP comes right into that golden pocket and that back test of this fib golden pocket, fib channel golden pocket in confluence with the regular retrace golden pocket in confluence with that. So I'm going to leave that on my chart. That looks really nice. Let's pull it from the bottom now. Let's see. Is it here? Okay, that's not relevant right now. All right, so that's that for there. I know this video has already been super long. I hope this helps you guys. Have a happy holidays. See you later.